Hi guys, I hope you're well, and welcome to Creative Cuts, a channel where I build, paint and create things. In today's video I'm going to build a small diorama that tries to tell a story. Firstly, I want to shout out Anvil Industries, who contacted me with an offer to choose some of their minis from their range and build something with it. Anvil Industries makes some really cool miniatures which can be used as alternatives to GW models, but also great for any sci-fi based tabletop game. Their range covers full models, but also a wide range of bits too. Want modern weaponry on your minis? Then they have you covered. Go check them out. All the details are in the description below. I found this Secret Service sniper model, which comes with a sort of scenic base, and loved the detail, and the beginnings of a scenario began to spark in my imagination. The scale is more like the older GW 28mm scale from days gone by, but that doesn't mean a compromise in the level of detail. The scale and proportion that Anvil Industries provide is much more in line with a sense of realism than the exaggerated heroic proportion that Games Workshop follow. I grabbed a small piece of hardboard that was in my box of offcuts and used this as the basis to build on. I imagined the sniper being hidden away in an elevated position, picking out his targets at will. So I set about extending the wall and the brickwork. I actually used a piece of the sprue that the models came on, which was approximately the right size. I used a selection of sheet materials like this sheet of styrene and some coffee sticks cut to size to act as bricks and build up the wall to match the existing one. I used some lengths of balsa wood to create the upright supports. To keep everything nice and straight, I used a right angle which came with the math set I picked up from my last video, where I had to brush up on my math skills to build some epic power generators. Link above if you want to watch that. Next I wanted some arches, so I grabbed some foam board and drew these out. Really simple. 2 quarter circles at the overall width of your arch. Perfect arches every time. I carefully cut these out and slotted them between my uprights nicely. To firm everything up and begin to add some architectural detail, I cut some coffee sticks to size and stuck these on top of my arches. To get rid of the foam board edges on the arches, I cut some more styrene sheet which is flexible enough to follow the curve of the arch neatly. Next I had to adjust the floor level to match the existing base. So I used some graphics board and carefully cut these shapes to size. To match the stonework on the base I used some milliput and carefully carved some stone shapes with a pin. Milliput is great for this kind of application. Just cut equal parts, give it a good mix and carve away to your heart's content. I often let my ball of milliput sit for around 20 minutes or so, just so everything is a bit firmer and easier to work with. I used little sausages to create some small brick details around the arches, just taking my time, pushing it into place and then starting to shape gently. I repeated this inside and out on all the arches. Now I wanted to create some tension in the scene, the potential for danger, so I grabbed an old Gene Stealer model, as these have always freaked me out a little bit, and perfect place to start. I played around with the positioning but knew I would have to make some adjustments to get the correct pose. I started cutting the model into pieces and using a touch of green stuff here and there to rejoin the model back together. But before I fully committed to the position of my monster, I wanted to add a little more detail to the structure itself. So, bamboo kebab skewers worked out great to add a bit of moulding around the edges. I was able to get some nice fine accurate cuts with my new mini table saw which I picked up. I'll do a full video on this in the near future, but definitely a nice new bit of kit in the armoury. Because I wanted to create a bit of a reveal in how you view this composition, I decided to board up one of the windows. Some corrugated paper was always a good place to start. Then using some matchsticks I continued to reinforce the window. I knocked up a little base with some offcuts as I didn't have anything to hand that was the right size. A piece of glue and a quick sand and everything was good to go. a nice coat of primer to seal it, and once everything was the same colour, you can really tell if all the different components are working together. I was pretty happy with how things turned out, so I could now finalise the pose of my monster. Scary. Again, the same applies here. Making everything the same colour allows your eye to see if any tweaks need to be made, and if they do, make the adjustments and just reprime. Easy. I popped the miniatures on bamboo skewers with a tiny dot of glue just to make the painting a little easier. I started blocking in some colours with my airbrush and then the smaller areas just with a brush. I wanted my monster to have an organic look about it, so I gave it a base of a sort of greyish pale yellow, and then added some Nighthawk Gloom from Citadel to quickly blend some areas. Just pop a little on where you want the blend to happen, and then with a clean wet brush, pull away the pigment where you want the blend to end. I changed colour to a more greeny shade, just to get some colour variation. When wet, everything can look a little intense, but these paints definitely desaturate as they dry. I went back in with my original base colour and just picked out some of the higher points, just to re-emphasise them. I followed a similar approach for the skeletal back structure, working from dark to light to get some nice colour transitions. I sprayed the base black. An airbrush makes this super quick, but of course you can always use your brush. I knock up a quick oil wash with some burnt umber and some black diluted with some white spirit. You can control how dark you want your wash to be very easily with oils. And if you go too dark, you can always wipe it off easily with a tissue or cloth. But the benefit of using oils as a wash is that the thinner, in this case white spirit, is chemically much thinner than water, so it breaks apart much easier. This allows the paint to flow into all the little gaps. It's so effective, it's almost cheating. Once dry, I highlighted some of the raised areas again just to give some more contrast. Then with a thin coat of PVA, I sprinkled some fine dried earth and to give everything a feeling of age and just pull it all together. And next I cut up some small pieces of takeaway containers that I had kept back. This clear plastic is firm enough to glue into shape and make nice little broken shards of glass. A little super glue and some activator fixed these into place. And that pretty much wraps this up. I placed the models and added a few last final touches, and my little fun scenario is complete. If you have liked what you've seen and want to support the channel, please feel free to subscribe, leave a like, and get involved in the comments below. We've built up a really nice community here, and I can't thank everyone enough for all your continued positivity. I want to thank Anvil Industries for sending me the model, the Secret Service sniper who is so engrossed in his activity that he failed to look up. What happens next is for you to decide, but I fear there is little hope for old buddy boy over here. Thank you for watching and enjoy.